Okay, one other thing. I'm trying to get the. Okay. All right. So. All right. So. Good evening. This is Phil from PDQ Merchant Enterprises and the ATM Mastermind Group page, and we go live every other Monday starting at 6 Central Time. I hope you guys in ATM world. I was out last time 2 weeks ago taking my daughter to school, but I am back and full of knowledge in the ATM business. So for those of you guys who haven't joined us, basically we go live every other Monday at 6 Central Time. We usually have a topic, and then what we do is we go into questions and answers. If you do have any questions about the ATM business, whether it's the topic at hand or you just want to know a general question, how the ATM business works, how much money you can make, return on investment, any and all questions, I'm here to answer these questions for you guys out there and out there in the ATM community. So today's topic is thinking about what could go wrong and preventing it, looking in insurance to protect you from big losses, and growing your ATM business. Now, my name is Philip Webb. I've been in the ATM business for over almost 25 years. We've been on YouTube for over 5 years, making videos about the ATM business, how you can benefit from almost passive income, how you can grow a side hustle, side business in the ATM. We also have a course that teaches you from A to Z how to be successful in the ATM business. I wrote a book on how to be successful in the ATM business. We have a course, and along with the course, we have location agreement contracts, mobile agreement contracts, vault cash agreement contracts, service contracts, and then everything and anything you ever want to know about the ATM business is in that course. So I put the link in the description below if you guys want to register for the course, or if you just want some general knowledge. The course has everything in there about the ATM business as a whole. Also, you get access to me if you want to ask questions or you want some clarification about the ATM business. It's in the course and it's in the community. We have its own private ATM community that you can ask questions of, not only to me, but other ATM business owners such as yourself. All right. So with that being said, we're going to start right into the questions and the topics that we got. And today's topic is think about what could go wrong and how to prevent it. All right. So the first thing that I want to think about when I'm in the ATM business is I want to make sure that my ATM is secure. So when we look for a spot to place our ATM, one of the things I want to do is I want to place it in a visible spot that is visible to the customer, but is not easy to grab my ATM or commit a crime or steal the ATM. So one of the things we do is we try to stay away from the very front. If there's glass or a door, we try to stay away from either or. Back in the day, we used to put it right by the door. After smash and grabs, we prevent that from not putting it next to the door, putting it closer to the middle of the store, sometimes the back of the store, or not so close to the door. The other thing we do is we always bolt our ATMs down. Sometimes I used to go in locations where we didn't secure the ATM and bolt it to the floor. Those days are gone by the wayside. I always secure the ATM to the floor. Well, then you might ask, well, Phil, what happens if the store owner doesn't want you to, or the building owner doesn't want you to secure it? Not a problem. We don't put the ATM in. Let somebody else put the ATM in. We also put A lot of our ATMs also have trackers on them in case they and tilt mechanisms. So if the ATM gets tilted or they go to grab the ATM, I have it's security on there. So now we get alerts. Hey, the ATM is being fumbled with or messed with. And we have an alert that goes not only to me, but certain jurisdictions, we can send it right to a police station if the ATM decides to move. So that way the police are notified. Police are always doing a bang up job in the community, but with so much crime out there right now prevalent in our communities, they can't, it's not like it used to be. They can't be everywhere. So we try to protect ourselves, alert the police for different scenarios to make sure that we're tied into police stations in different jurisdictions. We also change our locks on our ATMs. So when you're in the ATM business, I would recommend you do this when you get 5 or more ATMs. I would change my lock from the factory setting. Now, why do you ask? Why 5 or more? Because they sell them. The locks are about $17 a lock. But if you buy a dozen locks, the price go down significantly. You can get it for probably $8 or $9. And so you're spending 2 to 1. So now people say, well, geez, what do I care? $20? Some people do care. So I would recommend you do it all when you get 5 ATMs, and then you can buy a dozen at a time. This is the way you can minimize your exposure and have plenty of locks available. I would change the lock when you get to 5 or more. I would also make sure that you, again, bolt your ATM down. What happens if it's wood, Phil? How do I secure it then? Well, then you drill down, you go in the basement, and you put a bolt through the floor. Or if it's crawl space, then you decide, do you want to go in there or not? If you do want to decide to go in there, then make sure you can get in a crawl space and you can secure the ATM. That's the best way to do it. Now, also, if you're in some kind of environment, you might want to put in not only secure to the wood floor, but you might want to put some weights. You can get some weights. You can get cement bags. They're 80 pounds each. Put a couple of those. That'll make it a real sporting event for the guy who wants to steal the ATM. Or you could put weights like when the guys are working out with the bars. You could put 35-pound weights. They fit real nicely in the bottom of the ATM. You can get 4 of those, and boom, you're at 140 pounds. That's also makes it a sporting event. If the guy wants to steal your ATM, he's going to have to get it out of the store. It makes it real tough to get that ATM in the back of a truck. So, you know what? There's also security measures. There's wraparounds that you can buy that'll put an additional 4 to 6 bolts around your ATM. I've bought a few of those in neighborhoods. So when guys look, or it could be women, but most of the time it's men, look to become a partner with you, then they can make it a sporting event, and then they'll look at, most of the time they say, you know what, that's a little too much. I'm going to go on to the next place. I put that at a location, and it was robbed. It was robbed once before we put the ATM. We put the ATM in. We got our ATM robbed. We put that enclosure around the ATM, and then what happened is they didn't steal this extra store. It got robbed 2 more times. I just found out that the store owner is going to put metal bars on the outside of the store to stop them from getting robbed, but they didn't take our ATM. They didn't touch our ATM. Well, it was because of the nice security features that I added. And that's and I was just trying, what did he say? Oh, plates. They're called plates, Mo. Okay. So the plates, but some guys, they don't use the plates. They use the cement sandbags or cement bags at the hardware store. So that usually works out pretty good. Too, for some of the guys, I don't like that because you got dust in the ATM, and then it becomes when you go to move it, sometimes you forget and you move it, and then you say, oh, I got the cement in there, and you get dust in your ATM. I don't want any more dust. We have sensors in the ATM, but guys are using that anyways. So those are some of the secure features that you do when you secure your ATM. The other thing that you do is if you're filling your ATMs, maybe what you're going to do is you're going to run through you're going to run through, let's say your route. Let's say you got 5 spots on your route. You run through, let's say 1 through 5. Well, maybe next time you do your route, you do it on Tuesday. So instead of doing it on Monday, you do it on Tuesday and then run it 5 through 1. And if you're going to buy a new vehicle and you need new license plates, make sure you don't get a license plate, vanity plates. ATM guy, not a good move if you're in the ATM business. You want to get a license plate that doesn't have any letters on it. No AB, no Ed, no, no you're the man. None of that stuff you want to be inconspicuous. And if you're buying a new vehicle and you're going to designate it for the ATM business, try to get easy colors: white, black, silver. Stay away from red, blue, green, cool orange. Don't stay away from those colors. Just try to be anonymous as much as you can and vary your route between different times of the day, different days of the week. That's what you want to do to make sure that you are trying to be safe and you're doing all the security measures that you can possibly do. The other thing is, if you go in a location, and if you're feeling yourself, you go in a location and it doesn't feel right, then just walk out of there. Go to the next spot. Come back. It's all on how you feel about walking in a store. Sometimes we get complacent, but always remember, to look at your environment, see what's going on in your environment, and that way you can stay safe and you can keep your money safe in the location. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to make money, not lose money. We lose money by not being safe, by not doing the safety protocols, by not securing our ATM to the ground, and then make sure that your money is always secure when you're filling the ATM. All right. And then we always switch up. One of the guys said, yeah, always make sure that your ATM, you switch your route up, or you switch the way you go. I know some guys say, oh, I'll be here between Tuesday and, on Tuesday between 11:30. You don't want to do that. That'll put yourself a target on your back, and we don't want to do that. All right. So those are some of the ways to prevent some loss in basically in the ATM business. Now, one of the other things that happened recently is there's a thing called RMS out there, remote monitoring system. Some of the bigger players out there have put an RMS on their ATMs. This is a way that you, at your home office, you can go in and you can monitor ATMs, and you could push. The reason they bought this was to push software down so they didn't have to constantly upgrade their ATM. When the latest greatest software came out, they could just push it down. That's a great feature. But what happened is they were leaving the password on default. Let's say the password on default was, admin. Well, they left it there. And then people got into their RMS, and then they changed their protocols, and they changed the amount of money that could dispense. And this was a big challenge in the ATM business. This happened just in the last year. So if you are running RMS, one of the things I want to tell you is please change your passwords off the default. It's another way that you are adding extra security to your ATMs and added security to your RMS system. We don't use the RMS system, but I know a bunch of people who do. We were very fortunate in the early. We ended up with a processor who gave us access to a lot of reporting that the RMS didn't. Other people would use early on in the processing game, their functionality wasn't so good. So not only they have one processor, they had this RMS system help them navigate their business and save them a lot of time. But recently, some hackers got in that figured out, hey, these guys are using this RMS, and they got in and they changed because the passwords weren't changed. But if you're not using RMS, this is not an issue. And if you are using RMS, please change. There's been several bulletins out there to change the passwords, and please do so if you haven't done so already. All right. So now looking into insurance to protect your ATM. One of the things, if you're just into the ATM business and you don't have a lot of ATMs, the magic number is going to be 10. To get insurance, you're going to need at least 10 because it's not cost justifiable to insure your ATMs for vandalism, for loss of cash. If you aren't there, then you will have to do what we call self-insure. That is where you're going to have to insure your own ATM for losses of vandalism or theft. Once you get to the magic number 10, then the insurance companies, you can get insurance for one, it's just not cost justifiable. It might cost you $2,500 a year to insure one or up to 10. It's not going to be something that you want to do for one ATM, because it's going to put you at basically a break even or maybe even a loss, depending on how good or bad the location is. But once you get to 10, now you can spread it over the cost of 10 ATMs, and it becomes a little more easy to chew on how much the insurance is for your ATM route. I know when we first started in the game, we self-insured everything until I got to the point where, you know what, I can add that. How do you do that? Well, you start out with a liability insurance for your business. So if somebody gets hurt on your ATM, then you know what, you have insurance for that. Then, and maybe you start out with car insurance for your business. Then you go to liability insurance. Then you go to a general umbrella insurance. Then let's say if you have employees and you get workers' comp. Then from there, you try to massage that whole deal to make sure that you get crime coverage, cash in transit coverage. Those are the coverages you're looking for. It doesn't happen overnight. It is a slow process. Insurance companies like to make money, and they want to make sure that you're a good risk. But if you don't have any losses and you're going through the process, then you'll be able to find a company that will insure you for the ATM business. Lloyd's of London is the ones who will underwrite the insurance companies. So it just depends on how much business they want to do. There is a company called Marshall Sterling who will take some of that business, but again, you're gonna need at least 10 to make it cost justifiable. So one of the things you need to do is make sure you get 10, and then after that, you can start getting coverage on your ATM. But one of the ways you start in the beginning is, get liability insurance with your car, and start with get a commercial policy. Maybe you got a regular car, you get a commercial policy for your car. Then again, your second step is you get an umbrella for your business, liability for your business, and a big umbrella for your business. Then if you have employees, then you get workers' comp. And then if you get to the point where, hey, I got a building, then maybe you leverage your building. And then the last thing is you're going to ask for crime and ATM coverage. They will cover you on ATM if it gets vandalized, but not cash. Then you get to the cash and cash in transit. Those are all the protocols. That's how you do it. But it will take you a little bit of time to get the insurance. That's what it took us. Unless you're some kind of magician. And if you are, then share with us, hey, how'd you do it and how fast you do it? Because I always like to pass on the knowledge to somebody else. All right. And then the last thing is growing your ATM business. How do I grow my ATM business? How long does it take? What's the protocols? All right. So what I like to do is, depending on your level, just try to grow your ATM business. Figure out 4 a year, 1 a quarter. That's a good amount of growth for your ATM business. I like to grow everything slow and steady. Sometimes people, they talk to me like, I'm going to get 10 next year. I'm going to get 15, 20 the next year. Great. I love to hear it. Tell me how you do it. The challenge is not every ATM location is a home run or a banger, as they say in the ATM world. It's a marginal location. Sometimes they're bad locations. Sometimes you think it's going to be a good location. You put out 2, 3, 4 ATMs, and then you wait. What we do is we wait 60 or 90 to 180 days. We evaluate the ATMs. If they don't hit our threshold, then we look to taking those ATMs out. And we're somewhere about 4 out of 10 are great locations. There's probably 3 that are marginal locations, and then there's 3 that are dogs. So that's about my average. Throughout the process, my average has been getting better, because there's certain locations that doesn't make any sense. I don't take a lot of restaurants anymore. If they're a barbershop, they got to have about 10 stools. I got to go in there. I got to see people waiting in line. Some laundromats are great if they're cash only, but if they got the card system, they got to be a big laundromat, or it doesn't make any sense. So it just depends. Bars are always good if they have a need for cash. If they don't, then it's not. It doesn't make sense. So it just depends on the environment and what it is. I like grocery stores. I like Latino grocery stores where they got a taqueria in the back. They're sending currency or money throughout the world. I like those locations. Dispensaries are always good. Truck stops are always good. Those are really good locations. So it just depends on what it is, but there are hidden gems. There are places that won't take that they don't little taquerias. They just do it's cash only. So I like those places. Always cash only is great. Is great for the ATM business. And then how do I grow it? Okay, I do a lot of referrals and I do a lot of networking. So been in the business for 25 years. Obviously, I'm going to know one or two spots and I'm going to know one or two people. But for those who are starting out in the game, you have to build a network. Whatever your network is, I always suggest start with the local chamber of commerce. That's a good way to network. Also, get to know beer distributors, liquor distributors. If you're going in a bar and restaurant, if you're going for laundromats, get the people who are selling the soap, get the mechanics who, or the technicians who are repairing the washer and dryer. Those are all good people. It depends. If you're in the hotel business, you want to go after hotels. Get to know the front desk people and the general managers. They switch business a lot. They'll be in a they'll be in a hotel for the front desk managers. They'll be there for 6 months to a year. They go from property to property. Get to know the people in the restaurant, because people are in the hotel business. They go from property to property. They're 6 months, 8 months. They go to another place. Get to know them, reward them for going to their hotel and getting you in the business, and try to build a network of 5, 10, 20 people who are in the hotels you're in, because those people will pay dividends later on down the line. So it just depends on what industry you want to go after. Pick a lane and go after that lane, whatever that lane is. If it's hotels or it's gas stations, convenience stores, truck stops, whatever that is, pick a lane and stay in that lane is always the best way to do it. So you can, what we say, you can dominate in that lane. That is the way to grow business. And also, like I said, I also create what I call finders. I find people who are in those environments and I reward them for finding me locations. And it's really worked. If you're not in credit cards, another thing to do is find guys who sell in credit cards, give them another reason to make some extra income, because they're talking to merchants all the time, and then they can help you find locations that they're talking to business owners. So those are always the way to do it. Now, if you want to do mobile events, one of the things I would do is I would talk to my local Rotary Club. So you got city village halls. They always put on some kind of fair or festival. The county fair or festival. They always once a year. If you're in rural America, they also got the Chamber of Commerce. So your big ones are Rotary, Chamber of Commerce, city, and the county. Those are the four big ones that are usually will put on an annual event to raise money for whatever they need money. The Chamber of Commerce always need money for them. Rotary is always trying to raise money for their association. The cities usually is a give back, or they're trying to, they usually do a fireworks or some kind of festival. They're trying to raise money. So those are your big, if you want to get into the mobile game, that's where you want to look. Also, you can get on Facebook and look for fairs and festivals. And every time there's something going, they're going to alert you, hey, there's whatever they got, something big in the community. And then you'll have access. Facebook will recognize, oh, this person's always liking these events, and then they'll send you more. So every little municipality will have a city festival, and you will like it. And then Facebook, now what you got to do is you got to go to that fair or festival during that time and say, hey, and see if there's ATMs. If there is ATMs, ask to say, hey, I want to be considered for next year. Or if there's not an ATM, then get to know who's in charge. That person changes. They usually run a 2-year cycle. Most of them, they'll be like the assistant this year, and then they're the main next year, and then the next year they got an assistant. So usually that's how it goes. But sometimes that person will do it for years and years and years and years. So it just depends. Or sometimes the position rotates, sometimes it doesn't. So again, my name is Phil. PDQ Merchant Enterprises are a company. We sell ATMs. We service ATMs. we provide processing for you guys want to get in the ATM game. We have a course that teaches you from A to Z how to be successful in the ATM business. And I've been in the game for 25 years. So if you're interested, I put the link in the chat. If this was helpful, if you guys can put if you guys have any questions, please ask a question at this time. If you don't have any more questions, then what we'll do is just put some fire emojis in the chat to say, hey, this was good and I appreciate the information you got. So I'm going to let that go for a couple seconds. And then if there isn't any questions, if you got a question, this is the time to ask a question. All right. So we don't have any questions. Thanks so much. All right. So I just want to say thank you guys. All right. So don't forget, we will be here. We'll be here in 2 weeks on Monday night. So next week is Labor Day, and the following week we'll be here talking about what are we going to talk about that time? We are how to plan to add more ATMs and new services. Look for some new areas and ways to expand, and checking how your business is doing. So that's what we're going to talk about next time. And I just want to say, Auntie Val would always say, that's it, that's all, says the clock on the wall. Thank you guys very much, and I will see you in 2 weeks.